Hi, Natalie here, and once again I'm in my garden pointing at things. Look at this beauty. Do you see her? I'm hoping this mic, by the way, it's the first time I'm using it in the wind, and I hope it lives up to its reviews and is windproof or can be used in the wind. Okay, so this beauty over here, that one, right there with the flowers, do you see her? Do you see her? She makes me very happy. I cannot explain to you how happy I am to see this tree in my garden in bloom. And before I go into what tree it is exactly, I'm going to give you a little insight into how my brain works. So I have an incredibly curious brain. I always want to figure out how things work and how to make things work. So, for example, a couple of years back, I was like, okay, I live in a house, I have a normal garden, I don't have hectares and hectares and acres where I can plant crops. So what do I do if I want to, for example, grow ingredients to bake my own bread, right? So I don't have a lot of space where I can grow a lot of wheat or many grains. So what can I use instead of wheat or grains as a flour, and how do I bake bread and be able to grow the ingredients I need to be able to bake bread in my own garden? And I wanted to sort of solve this challenge because, let's face it, I'm not the only one. Many of us just do not have gardens where we can grow a lot of wheat, or we're gluten intolerant, whatever the case may be. The second question I asked myself is like, okay, how can I do it but so that it's vegan? It must be vegan, right? That means no eggs, because I'm not going to go and start keeping chickens or any kind of bird for eggs. So it's got to be something that I can grow, a plant that I can put together, or a couple of plants. What can I do? So that's when I started looking into nuts and nut flour. So look at this beauty. Can you see her? This is my macadamia nut. So I have two macadamia nut trees. They're not very high producing trees. They can produce a fair amount, but they're not high producing trees, but they can be used to make a nut flour. But this one, I'm going to show you now. This one is my pride and joy. Look at her. Do you see this beautiful huge tree? Do you see her? That's my pecan nut. And she is a very high yield producing nut tree. And she's going to be the source of most of my oil and flour. The macadamia will be a lot of source of milk and flour. So I will also test to see how much oil she can produce, but we'll get there. So I've got nut trees for the flour, but let's face it, they're not very good as combining ingredients. And since I'm not going to use eggs, I need to find something that can combine my ingredients together. And that's where this beauty comes in. Isn't she beautiful? I took my first harvest from my mother tree. So this is my mother tree. It's a cassava. The roots of the cassava is what they produce tapioca from. So tapioca flour. So this is my cassava, and I successfully harvested roots from this tree. So I didn't have to dig up this tree to harvest roots this year. I just dug underneath the tree until I found some roots, and I dug it up. And I've also made a lot of cuttings. So I'm growing a small cassava forest, because not only are the roots used as a flour for a combining agent and a thickener, but I also want to use it to make a vegan cheese. It's a very commonly used plant in vegan cheese because it gets very stringy and pulley. So this would be pretty much one of the things that replace eggs, my need for eggs as a combining agent if I'm not using flour. wheat flour. So I'm using nut flour and I'm using tapioca roots that I'm going to process into a flour or a starch that can be used. And then we need a raising agent because it's bread after all. And even if it's a nut bread, a raising agent will be slightly effective in making it a softer, better crumb. And then that's where I have so many all over the place. Let me just find one for you. And then that's where these plants come in. And I'm sure when you see it, you're going to recognize it almost immediately. If you don't know what this is, it's turmeric. This is turmeric. So I have two types of turmeric growing. I have white turmeric and red turmeric. Sorry, yellow turmeric. So this is the yellow turmeric. And I use the turmeric much like I use for ginger, and I create a turmeric bug, which I leave to ferment for a very long time. I currently have 5 mature ginger bugs and a mature turmeric bug. And it creates yeast. And I'll leave the link in the description. I actually did test baking bread, sourdough type bread with it, and it works perfectly. It works amazing as a yeast. So if you're interested in learning how to turn that into a yeast, I'm going to link my turmeric bug video in the description, as well as my baking sourdough loaf from that bug. And that's how my brain works. So I really kind of break things down of what can I do so that if I need to survive off my land, what is in my garden that can help me accomplish that. And that brings us back to that beautiful little tree. I had a question in my mind that had been bugging me for months and months, and that was, how can I grow and or create my own soap at home? Now, I know it's easy to buy soap making ingredients online, but I don't want that. I want something I can literally grow at home. I know about making lye from wood ash. I've tried it. It's messy, it's dangerous, and I don't like the fact that it is a dangerous, messy, toxic process. And I really want a healthy, natural process that I can use every day for my family. And so I really started looking into what plants generate soap naturally. The first one to come up that I think most people know of is the shampoo ginger. So I'm busy trying to source some rhizomes for shampoo ginger. It's definitely on my to get list. But shampoo ginger is a very mild soap, and it's really good for like skin care and body care and hair. For your own personal hygiene, it's very gentle, but it's not strong enough for things like a laundry detergent or washing your dishes, etc. So I really got into researching, and then I came across the fact that certain agave have saponins in it, and saponins are the chemical within the plant that creates the soapy film, that makes it a soapy product. But I have a few in my garden, ran around, and checked. Fantastic. It lathered and made soap in my hands, but it would take a lot of plant for me to get a small amount of soap. So it isn't a productive option. There was another one, and that was using and I have a couple in my garden, and I tested it as well. It's the yucca. We say yucca or yucca. For me, it's the yucca. So I have a couple of yucca, and I went and I checked. Same thing, beautiful soapy lather from the leaves and the roots. But again, you need a lot of plant to create a small amount of soap. So I continued to do my research, and then I discovered a plant that's called the soap nut. And it's literally the seeds that you take the seeds and you can put them in your laundry detergent, or you can create dishwash out of it. And just the seeds themselves generate a lot of soap that you can use 2 or 3 times. You can use the nuts at 2 or 3 times, and it's a really effective cleaner. And I got so excited, and I started searching, where would I get a soap nut? Where would I get a soap nut? And eventually last year, spring, I found a source online where I could purchase soap nut seeds. Now, in my research, I did discover that soap nuts from seed until the time they are ready to harvest is 10 years. So I bought these soap nut seeds ready to be in it for the long haul, knowing I've got 10 years before I can start making my own soap at home. But oh well, if I start now, at least I've started. So I planted half the seeds I purchased, and none of them took. None of them germinated. Of course, that was very hard to take. So I was getting ready to look into planting the rest and how best I can guarantee the germination. And I had a friend over, and she we're standing at our gate, and she kind of points over to the neighbor's yard and goes, "Oh, that's a soap berry." So obviously a soap nut is the seed that comes inside a soap berry. And I was like, "What?" It's like, "That's a soap berry." And the plant she's pointing out is in full bloom. So it's a mature dune soapberry. And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I bought seeds to grow this. I haven't had success. And I'm like waiting 10 years to be able to harvest my soap. Meanwhile, on in the front of my neighbor's garden, what do you know? They have a mature tree right there ready to go. So now I start planning midnight missions. How am I going to get this tree? My neighbor won't miss it. How do I go and get this tree? And then I'm walking in my garden this morning, and I discover this beauty right there. There she is, there she is, there. You see? There she is. In bloom, in full bloom. She's got flower buds all over her. That's amazing. So that means I have a mature June soapberry in my garden already. I didn't have to buy seeds, but it's all good. I'm going to grow them anyway. The more the merrier. But this makes me very happy, because this means when this fruit is finished, I'm going to have my first an option or possibility to take those soap nuts and actually test it as a laundry detergent and a dishwash, which is incredibly exciting for me. And the actual berries, the flesh on the berries themselves is edible, so I'm excited to see how they taste. And apparently the leaves can be cooked like as a spinach, but they're very hardy leaves, so I wouldn't recommend it. But if you have goats, they do make good fodder as well. So it's really an incredibly useful tree to be able to have in your garden. And this morning when I discovered this baby in my garden flowering, of course, it was one of the happiest moments I can think of. So there's a little insight into how my crazy brain works and why I do the things that I do and try to figure out the things that I do. And I know a lot of the trees I planted, I'm doing it for the long time, the long haul, sorry. So my macadamia nuts are, at least 3 years off from fruiting. My pecan nuts actually overdue to start fruiting, so I'm hoping next year is the year. And then when they do, I have a machine I've been looking at that I would like to invest in that produces oil. So the nice thing about pecan nuts, so when you're looking at skincare, the oil is high in vitamin E. So even it's a very healthy oil to cook with and eat with, but it's also a very good skincare oil. So I want to get the oil from it, and obviously leftover flesh from the oil production can be dried and ground up for the flour, which I then can use to start my baking with. I do have some macadamia nuts. I got it from a local farmer, and like I said, I have harvested some cassava and I have some mature bugs, so I am ready to test my nut bread from my garden theory, and I will let you know how it goes, but I don't see why it shouldn't work. Let me know if there's anything you want to know. How can you grow it in your garden? As long as it comes with like a vegan side. I'm not, like I said, I'm not about to get livestock or birds, because I do live in a forest and a natural space. So there is a lot of wildlife that can kill those sort of animals. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to take my homesteading from a vegan point of view, because I'm not going to put animals unnecessarily at risk. And at the same time, it's just easier to grow all the plants you need to fulfill all the needs that you have to have met. Taking care of animals is heavily expensive and time consuming, and it's you are responsible for those lives, and it's a lot of extra responsibility and work and stress and worry. I'd rather focus on a plant, coming from plants, what I can do there. So if there's anything you want to know, hey, what can you grow in your garden to achieve a certain goal? Let me know. I will go down that rabbit hole. I will spend hours and hours going down that rabbit hole to find that answer for you. So yeah, pop it in the comments below. And if you know of any other plants that you can do beauty care with that you recommend, please let me know. Besides castor oil, guys, I know castor oil is good for you. It grows in abundance everywhere here in the wild. I can literally walk down the road and pick castor oil. It's just a highly toxic plant, and it's very difficult apparently to actually get that oil from it. If I wanted to, I could grow it in my garden, because I could just literally go down the road, pick some seeds and come plant it here. It's also highly illegal. It's illegal to grow it in your garden. But why would I need castor oil when I've got beautiful vitamin E oil growing right there on my pecan tree? But I'll let you know how that goes. And yeah, so if there's anything else you can think of that you think would be really good for skincare, let me know. The shampoo, if you know where a really good place so I can get some shampoo ginger rhizomes, I will be eternally grateful. And yeah, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. Maybe a good conditioner? Who knows? Let me know in the comments, and look forward to hearing from you. Till next time, bye bye.